So I almost shaved off all of my hair this week. And as I sat there in the mirror with those scissors, all I was thinking was, Deandra, just cut it. Just cut it all off. Obviously, I didn't cut it all off. I ended up with a little Bobbiana. But as I sat there, I just started to think of, my hair journey from the time that I was a little girl, to this point of almost 40. So I want us to have a conversation today about, just being a Black woman and our relationship with our hair. So this is my little story. Sit with me for a few minutes. Get something to drink. I'm drinking Dunkin' coffee today. Just sitting here in nature, as I love to do. So I want to invite you guys along to have a little chitty chat. So before I talk about why I almost shave it all off, I think it's important to just go a little bit back, right, to my earliest memories of me actually getting my hair done, right? So as a child, I had very long, coily hair. You know, the hair that used to be like in the pigtails that lays on your back, the long black hair with the bubbles that were colorful and the barrettes, that came in the pack. And sometimes the rubber bands would be on the end, like so the hair wouldn't have to loose out. Right. I can remember sitting between my mother's knees, right, getting my hair washed and cleared out. And if you move, she'll crack you with the comb because why aren't you keeping still? I remember the Royal Crown grease, having your scalp greased with that, or like the Blue Magic grease. And I could still remember the smell of it, right? And I remember having like the hair pulled so tight, and to make the hair more manageable, my mom would use I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's Luster's pink hair moisturizing lotion. And yeah, it was just, Sundays was like a dreadful day because like even when me and my sisters, our hair went in ponytails, it used to be so excruciatingly tight. And when it wasn't that, it was like, I could remember sitting in the kitchen, in my grandmother's kitchen, sitting on the stool, and like your hair would be frying from having it like hot combed, being straightened with the hot comb, sorry. And you would have to like hold your ears down so that you would not get burnt. And if you move, God help you. And being, they used to be rowing you, like saying, girl, keep your head still. So all of those were like fond memories, my earliest memories of like getting my hair done. And even with getting the hair straightened, is like you couldn't run up and down like when you would go to school, because then the hot comb would kind of like wear off. And also, if you had it braided, or sorry, if you had it put in the ponytail, like I remember my hair being so tight in those ponytails, like when we would sit down for assembly, like the sun would be shining on that path and the hair was like pulled so tight. So it was like, looking back in hindsight, being a Black little girl with long hair was like a blessing, I guess, because you were teased if your hair was like picky. Like if your hair couldn't go in one, or like, you struggled in the hair arena, like you were teased so bad. So it was a blessing, I guess. And I realized very early on, like being Black and having long hair back then was like so desirable. And like people would always like compliment me on my hair, the length of it, the fact that it grew, right? So it's like a double-edged sword, I guess, because even though it was beautiful and well presented, the process of caring for it was excruciating and actually traumatizing for me. as a child. So I knew that early on that having long hair was considered a good thing. But yeah, it was my earliest memories were very traumatizing. And I also could remember like having to tie down my hair with the head cloth. Like you tied it underneath the chin. You're like giving this head scarf. I can still remember the colors of the head scarf. And God forbid that, it came off in the morning because now your hair is like rooted up. It was supposed to be perfect. And so I promise you from very early on, I had an interesting relationship with my hair. It was something that I was praised and proud of, but maintaining it was definitely not a pleasant experience. Now, growing up, my mother, she was considered to have growing hands. People would come to her to like braid their children's hair. And if you've been following me on this channel, you know I always reference my mom. She is just so resourceful, right? And so as a little girl, she said she learned how to do hair because she didn't want anybody fixing my hair. And so she became a master braider, right? So she took pride, and being responsible for taking care of my hair. And so I must give her flowers because she was the reason why my hair thrived, so much as a little girl. Largely because I guess she knew how to take care of it with braiding. So as soon as like the braids came out, she would put them back in, and she took great pride in doing that, right? And so my grandmother used to say, and I guess she got that from her grandmother, who used to say that your hair is your crown and glory. I grew up hearing your hair is your crown and glory, so maybe I got it wrong. But my grandmother, which is her mother, obviously, used to say, she used to let us know very early on that you have to take care of your hair, and your hair is to be something that is well taken care of, and yeah, that you must be well presented. And also, as a child, I think when I was in preschool, I had my first relaxer, right? My aunt was getting married, and my mom didn't really want to relax my hair, but I guess for manageability and aesthetics, she was convinced to relax my hair in the 90s. And so what ended up happening was, I got my first relaxer that one time. And yeah, after that, I don't remember her saying that it wasn't like cared for. It was still long, but when you get a relaxer, that changes like the whole chemistry of everything. But yeah, so it still thrived, but it's something that she said that she really regretted because my hair was so coily and so long and just beautiful, and it had that like volume. And she always tells the story that is one of her greatest regrets, relaxing my hair at such a young age. You know how the children say, my hair can't grow because my mom relaxed it when I was a kid? Yeah, that was actually my reality, but it didn't do too much damage to it. It just kind of changed it a bit. And so when my mother lost her mother, right, my hair kind of changed. And by extension, my sister's, right? Because my mother was grieving her mom. And so my cousin was living at us at the time, and she was doing like cosmetology at her high school. And so what ended up happening was she started to, I don't want to say take care of our hair because it really wasn't. It was grooming our hair, but a lot of damage was done because like she would use the flat irons and all the things, and we were doing like the tight hairstyles on relaxed hair. So what ended up happening was that, our hair dropped, as we would say, in the Black community. So it just started to become very much damaged, right? And so during that grieving process, my hair changed. And so during that season, we did our own thing. We experimented, right? And my mother was so shocked, like after she, I guess, came up for air and she was trying to do our hair one day. And she was like, oh my God, my children's hair are damaged, right? And so after that era, she started to get serious about reviving my hair,